Ooh, hey, what is up? So this is not ideal circumstances, but unfortunately, my other setup does not work. My computer is absolutely terrible, and I apologize for starting late here, but it is what it is. I really need to get a better computer. My computer is so dang old, and I really need to replace it, and I just never got around to doing it. And it's definitely I'm paying for it right now. So yeah, this sucks, but it is what it is. And this is the setup we got for tonight, but it's definitely too bad. But hopefully, what is up, Beetle Beetle? Again, unfortunate. I don't have my actual setup with me right now, so I'm streaming off a just another setup where I can't download OBS. So again, I apologize for this. This is definitely not ideal. I really apologize for everything. Again, there's so much to see here, and I can't share my screen with you, unfortunately, with the setup that I have right now, and it sucks. But I'll do my best to talk about this upcoming episode. Definitely not the ideal circumstances, but again, we'll see what we see. So I can't share my screen, unfortunately. I apologize, but there's definitely a lot to talk about here, and so just yeah, again, some serious technical difficulties here. So I definitely apologize. Absolutely not the ideal setup, but it is what it is. So, ooh, in another life. Hey, what is up, KSL? Yeah, this is definitely not ideal, but it is what it is. I'm going to try to do my best to describe things. What is up, Kickflip Demon? Again, my streaming setup is absolute trash. My computer absolutely died on me. The time could not be worse, and it kind of sucks because I was actually having a pretty great day. I don't know about you guys, but this was a horrible twist to a rather good day, and it is what it is, unfortunately. But there's a lot out there for this episode for sure. For everything that wasn't released, for every photo that they didn't release prior to the last episode of season 6 of Better Call Saul, entitled well, the title simply Black and Blue. They released so many additional photos here for this episode for sure. And I feel like I've kind of talked about it a lot leading up into this episode for sure. But again, it sucks that I can't share my screen. It really defeats the purpose here. But I'm gonna do my best here. I guess I won't talk about every single little thing, unfortunately, because we don't have the photos to share my screen with. But I'm gonna try my best. So yeah, I mean, I guess getting right into it, I guess we'll start with the photos here for sure, and I guess we can talk about the that. Again, I don't have anything pulled up. Again, this is definitely not the setup. What is up, Courtney reviews? Yeah, it's definitely not ideal though for sure. Definitely not ideal. So what is up, JW? Maybe I'll just have to go by the comments here, and we can just have a back and forth here. I can't share my screen, unfortunately. So definitely definitely not ideal. We are not. I guess we're really embracing Saul Goodman here. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here, and we're not being super professional or anything to that effect. But oh my goodness, non nobis solum. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, man. Seriously, I think, man, it's all the weekend's already over, but this week, man. I am going to absolutely have to buy a new computer. I mean, again, it's literally like Patrick Kuby in Dead Freight, one of my favorite quotes of all time, when he has his dump truck break down on the railroad tracks on purpose, excuse me, and he says to the engineer and the conductor, "Man, shit fire and save the matches. Talk about bum luck." I mean, seriously, my computer died right before I was going to do the stream. So, non nova solum, I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it. I really apologize for this. This couldn't have sucked more. There's so much out there. There's so much I wanted to discuss for this stream. There's so many photos. There's so much in the teaser trailer that was released prior to this episode that I wanted to discuss. I know I talked about it a little bit in my I guess review of it or something to that effect. But yeah, it's a great question, David Griffith 14. I do wonder who is going to get the axe for sure. And again, I guess I can try to do this off my memory here in respect to the promo trailer for this episode. But here, I'll try to pull it up actually. Cinco Bones, man. Well, yo, I really appreciate the support, man. Yo, Ant, I gotta ask, why are you wearing Cyclops glasses? All right, I guess, because my computer did crap out, I was planning on talking about this episode, but I mean, if people do want to, talk about my fashion choices, I guess we could talk about that instead. Like I said, there's that video out there, man, called it's a Casey Neistat video of why I always wear sunglasses, and you can go watch that. That'll pretty much answer every single one of your questions. But I guess, sort of in respect to what Casey Neistat said in that video about the type of sunglasses that he likes to wear. He said that he couldn't find a pair of sunglasses that fit his enormous head. I'm kind of editorializing here a little bit, but that pretty much is in my situation as well, where my whole life I could never find a pair of sunglasses that were comfortable, that I like to wear, which I thought, which I could wear for a very long time. My whole life, I bought all sorts of oh damn, again, great, another friggin' ad here, man. This is Saul Goodman will be proud of this stream for sure. He absolutely would. He absolutely would be proud of this stream. So, chances of Lalo surviving in the Gene timeline, Matt Duncan. That is a great question there as well. Definitely can talk about that for sure. It's definitely something that I've considered, and something that I have seen a lot of people talk about online as well. That's very interesting for sure. But yeah, Single Bones, long story long, to cover up my ugly face, and this is finally a pair that fits my enormous head that I can wear for forever, and they're incredibly comfortable. So that's why I wear these sunglasses, Cinco Bones. I really appreciate the support. Non Nobis Solum, I appreciate it as well, man. I will definitely try to fix this hardware issue ASAP. So yeah, Cinco Bones. Yeah, I'm not suffering from eye issues, man. I got pretty solid vision last time I went to the optometrist, if that's what you call it, 2020 and all that. So it's all good there. So, and Matt Duncan, yeah, I mean, talking about Lalo in the Gene timeline, that's a really good question right there. But I have seen some people bring up the fact that due to the fact that the super lab gets ultimately built, you do kind of have a hard time, Matt Duncan, squaring that circle in respect to how is Lalo Salamanca still out there, but the super lab continues, because Lalo is definitely on the case here in respect to trying to figure out what Gus Fring is planning. And it seems almost a little bit difficult to imagine that Super Lab being built and Lalo Salamanca still being out there. It almost seems as though he has to die. I've talked about the notorious piece of dialogue that Gus Fring said to Hector Salamanca in the episode entitled Crawl Space in season 4 of Breaking Bad of "Now the Salamanca name dies with you." So again, it is technically possible, but it also seems somewhat rather dubious based on the dialogue of Breaking Bad. And of course, with I've talked about this as well, about how they can really sort of take a lot of artistic liberties in respect to the dialogue of Breaking Bad, especially in respect to the fact that I thought for sure that Nacho Varga would have to meet up with Saul Goodman once again, but they never did after season 5 of Better Call Saul. You thought for sure that something would have to come to pass in respect to Saul Goodman's infamous piece of dialogue in the desert, but Nacho Varga, spoiler alert, took his own life in the 3rd episode of season 6, and so there's no way they can come together. So you do wonder what Saul Goodman was referring to when he said that dialogue to Walt and Jesse in the desert. So any chances that Lalo survives into the Gene timeline, it's technically possible, but again, it seems a little bit dubious, unfortunately. I know a lot of people have been talking about a potential spinoff for Lalo Salamanca. Again, we're probably just in the sort of pie in the sky territory there, but I would absolutely love to see it for sure. So yeah, Jason Voorhees again. I'm not a big a horror movie fan, so I probably butchered that name there. But the more I think about it, the more I just don't see Lalo surviving. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, who knows? Again, you could have told me that Nacho Varga was going to die in the 3rd episode, and I would have said you were absolutely crazy, and you would have been dead right if you told me that. So again, we'll figure out for sure what happens there. So David Griffin, who do you think will get the axe? All right, that is a good question right there. But anyway, I'm going to get into I've talked about this a couple times, the promo trailer for the next episode, Axe and Grind, and unfortunately I can't share my screen here, but it is out there, floating out there for sure. And I guess I'm just going to kind of talk about a little bit more the scenes that were teased to us in this teaser. I've definitely had a chance to ruminate it on some more. I've had even more thoughts on these scenes as the weeks have progressed for sure. So yeah, let's try to get into it here with this promo trailer. But anyway, yeah, getting right into it. The very first scene we see here is this shot of someone holding up black and white images of what appears to be a sort of hidden camera of Kim Wexler and Saul Goodman leaving their apartment, most likely in the morning. And this is, of course, a direct continuation of the storyline that ensued in the previous episode, Black and Blue, where following the boxing match that ensued. Again, I don't want to go too much on a tangent here in respect to the plot details of that boxing match, but following that boxing match, it's revealed to us that Howard Hamlin has paid a PI to tail Saul Goodman, where he wants to know everywhere he goes and everyone who he interacts with. So this is likely a direct continuation of that storyline for sure. We see a couple of images here. And I've definitely seen a lot of people point out to me, and it's absolutely true that we now have at least two groups of people tailing Saul Goodman and Kim Wexler, with Mike's, I guess I wouldn't call them PI, but just Mike's men as well as Howard's PI. So you do wonder if this sort of meeting is going to come to pass. This necessary confrontation is going to happen in respect to this plot detail in this upcoming episode. So again, it's a very interesting detail for sure. If you do wonder, what Mike's men's reaction will be to someone following them. Again, this PI, he definitely doesn't look like someone who would associate with someone like Lalo Salamanca for sure. But you do wonder maybe the sort of, I mean, I'm totally speculating here, but you do wonder if maybe some sort of, I don't want to say trigger happiness. That's not even a real word or term, but you do wonder if maybe someone will be spooked and maybe act in a certain way in which they regret. Again, I'm kind of dancing around the issue here. You do wonder if some sort of very sort of grand event is going to happen in respect to, Howard's PI matching up Howard's PI matching up with Mike's men, who are making sure that Saul and Kim are safe from Lalo Salamanca. Kate Valentine, my goodness, thank you so much for your intelligent commentary. Do you think Mrs. Ziegler is on to Lalo? Again, intelligent. That is quite the adjective there. You are far too kind for that one. But do you think Mrs. Ziegler is on to Lalo? That's a really good question there. Again, there's definitely plausible deniability for sure in respect to her suspicions in regards to the way her dog was reacting when she forgot her cell phone and returned home after she left for work. There's definitely some suspicion there in respect to the window being left open. Again, it's almost as if, I guess, if you were in that circumstance, if I would put myself in her shoes and I came home and there was this sort of ominous feeling and a window was left open, I would almost want to just be ignorant to it. I almost wouldn't want to investigate. It would be so sort of scary to me, the circumstances of a stranger sort of breaking into my house and, and sort of, I don't know, maybe the potential danger that would pose onto me. So that's a really good question. I don't know if Mrs. Ziegler is on to Lalo for sure. Again, I don't even know if she knows who came into her house. I don't even know if she knows if someone came into her house or not. I guess sometimes, I mean, if you're someone who frequently opens windows in your home for ventilation or something to that effect, I would imagine that sometimes you forget that you open them, or if you forgot to close them or something to that effect. But that is a good question. I do wonder, if Mrs. Ziegler will factor into the storyline moving forward in this episode. But as I have surmised in a past video and in my past live stream, I think it is an absolute certain. I mean, I wouldn't say absolute certainty, but I would say a 99.9% chance that Lalo Salamanca is going to come right to a head with none other than Kai, one of Werner's workers in the plot of a Better Call Saul. If not in the next episode, definitely prior to the conclusion of the first part of a season 6 of Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul for sure, Kate Valentine. And it's actually interesting. Someone pointed out to me in the comment, I think, on my live stream in respect to the location of where the German workers lived, because of course I believe they're all ethnic speaking Germans, but of course ethnic speaking Germans are dispersed all over Europe there, and I believe a couple of them flew to Zurich. I believe Casper may have flown to Austria, it was definitely like Switzerland and Austria was where most of them went. And if I'm not mistaken, someone pointed this out to me. The only worker who appeared to be from Germany was Kai, who flew into Berlin. And it's actually quite interesting. If we go back to, I believe, the episode entitled Magic Man, the season 5 premiere of Better Call Saul, I believe that Gus Fring said the lawyers met with Margarete Ziegler in Frankfurt, so it's a little bit of a distance away from Berlin, but it's a definitely manageable drive. And just due to the fact that Kai is in Berlin, and it definitely, I think there's absolutely without a doubt when we see like Dinan Jung's like from The Boys. I mean, I think that there's no doubt in my mind that at least Kai, if not the other German workers, will come back into the fold in the storyline for sure. I think Margarete Ziegler, Kate is I think she's going to be okay. I don't think I don't think Lalo is going to have to kill her or anything to that effect like he would have if she caught him in his home. But I don't think I am not feeling so good for Kai. I can tell you the truth. I'm not a gambling man, but if I was, I would not have high hopes for Kai. That's for damn sure. So Courtney's review. That's a very interesting perspective of a single woman living alone. Again, like I said earlier, I guess I mean we could sort of play this game all day with the editorializing, but maybe she opens up her windows a lot, and maybe she just forgot. But again, we don't know. You definitely do wonder if she's onto him for sure. It's definitely possible, but again, for part of me just thinks we've sort of wrapped up that storyline a little bit. I could be wrong, for sure, at Courtney's reviews, but we'll see. I definitely think Kai is the next domino to fall for sure, in my opinion. So Kai is a goner, LOL, at Michael Curtis. Yep, I think it's not good at all. So yeah, I kind of talked a little bit about Howard's PI, and actually, very interestingly, the next scene we see teased here in this teaser is a shot of Howard Hamlin, and I don't know if this is technically a spoiler or not, but like I said, for every photo they didn't release for Black and Blue as sort of a direct red herring in order to make us think that this is some sort of clue that Walter White and Jess Hinkman are going to appear. They released, I believe, 9 behind the scenes photos, and one of them, I believe it's been confirmed. I don't know if this is sort of a spoiler, so if you don't want to know this, I guess mute it or exit out of the video. But I believe a photo of Howard Hamlin's wife was teased to us prior to this episode. Cheryl, I believe he talked about in his therapy meeting with his therapist in the episode entitled "Hit and Run." So I think we're going to see Howard Hamlin's wife for the first time in the storyline of Better Call Saul in season 6. Again, I wish I could show an image here, but I can't share my screen because my technology is terrible. But you can definitely that photo was definitely out there circulating of Howard Hamlin's wife. And if we go back to the dialogue that he had in his therapy session, he said things are basically about the same at home, and it definitely seemed as though there's a bit of contention in respect to their relationship right now. Again, the specific details on what was causing this turmoil between this husband and wife was not revealed to us in the therapy scene that was displayed to us on screen. So yeah, this conversation between Howard Hamlin and his wife it looks like it's, yes, at MC Mel, absolutely. It looks like it's absolutely coming in the next episode for sure. In respect to this conversation. So it'll be pretty interesting. I'm kind of curious to see what this relationship is like. And in the sort of grand scheme of things, I have been thinking about the fact that, we're kind of adding depth and layers to Howard Hamlin's character here. And it is kind of a little bit ominous in respect to his ultimate fate. It sort of would make a demise of his character even more tragic, I suppose, when you sort of, I wouldn't say humanize, that's probably the wrong word, but just when you sort of add sort of more like depth and complexity to his character. It kind of reminded me of Gail Bedecker a little bit, not really, but in the final episode of Full Measures, when Gail Bedecker was shot in the face by Jesse Pinkman, we definitely saw a lot of him. We saw a lot more of his backstory, his quirkiness, his sort of interest, the type of music he liked to listen to, and it definitely made his death much more, I would say, I don't know the word. Tragic, but not tragic. But there's also another word that I definitely can't think about right now. So again, so whoever called me intelligent, I believe what was it, Kate Valentine? Again, you're far too kind with that word, but I definitely do appreciate it. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see, why they're adding this depth. What's the overall arching premise of having Howard Hamlin's wife in the storyline of the next episode. So definitely something I'm really curious to see for sure. And again, I wish I could show a photo of her here, but I cannot because my computer apps just died. So following this, actually, let's get into this next scene, this really interesting scene here. And I talked about it in my review of the promo trailer for this upcoming episode, but I believe we've all saw this Albuquerque Isotopes. I'm going to call it air freshener. I think it might be a car ornament, but for the rest of this video, I'm going to call it an air freshener. So, at Caleb, been watching you for years now. Keep up the great work, man. You are far too kind, man. I really appreciate the support, man. I really do. If you've been watching for years, I appreciate it, man. I hope the content has gotten better over the years. I've been trying to make it as good as possible, but I do appreciate it, man. And there definitely was the 2 year hiatus in which I wasn't able to make YouTube videos about. So I definitely appreciate you for watching after that hiatus as well. And again, I definitely apologize for kind of keeping people in the dark there in respect to just being completely like what's the term, ghosting YouTube for 2 years. But again, 2020 was a pretty crazy year, I believe, for everyone. And it was just, I don't really want to get into it too much with the personal stuff, but yeah, I just, it is what it is. 2020 was crazy for everyone, but I'm glad that, I'm back here, getting back into the swing of YouTube. So Caleb, I really appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Is that vodka in the glass, Anton? No, it is not. I think I may have a problem if that was all vodka. So to each their own. I'm not a big drinker. I'm afraid to say, but to each their own. So, but no, that is water. As again, after seeing Bagman, man, dehydration is no joke, people. So again, that advice may be worth the paper it's written on, but drinking water definitely will make your life much better. At Coconut Head for sure. But yeah, getting back into this promo trailer here, this shot here of this air freshener of the Albuquerque Isotopes, again, immediate red flags go off in that this is the exact, I don't know if it's the exact same one, but it is the exact same type of, or I did it again, air freshener that was in the cab driver Jeff's car in Omaha, Nebraska in the cold opening scene of season 4 of Better Call Saul in the episode entitled Smoke, excuse me. And I don't know what the overall premise of us, being displayed, this being displayed to us in this promo trailer is. Now, I have actually heard a really interesting theory out there, and again, it's a little bit dubious in my opinion, but I have heard some people talk about maybe on Reddit and stuff to that effect. Oh, at Coach Beer, love your content, Anton. Do you plan on making videos during the season 6 break? I'll need some content to keep me to keep me stated. Again, I really appreciate the support, Coach Beer. I really do. Yeah, definitely planning on making content during the break for sure. Again, there's a lot going on this summer for me, actually, though. I mean, I didn't want to, get too far ahead of myself here, but again, we'll definitely during the midseason break there will be content, but again, the amount of content, I mean, it we'll see. I mean, yes, the answer is yes. There's going to be content during the midseason break. There's probably going to be a lot to talk about for sure. That 6 week hiatus is quite long, so there's a lot to talk about, especially in respect to what the overall cliffhanger is going to be at Coach Beer. And I really appreciate the support. I really do. Very, really, really appreciate it, man. But yeah, getting let sort of trying to tie a bow here on this Albuquerque Isotopes thing. I have heard this theory on Reddit and also in a couple of my comments on my videos as well in respect to the cab driver being Clifford Main's son, maybe. And again, I think this comes up to the fact that in the episode entitled Hit and Run, we saw Kim Wexler meet with Clifford Main at that restaurant as part of that scam involving Wendy in order to undermine Howard Hamlin's character to Clifford Main. And a very interesting anecdote that Clifford Main said in that conversation with Kim Wexler was that his son had drug problems. And so again, I have this is a kind of this theory I think is a little bit out there, and I definitely looked at the age of Jeff, the actor who portrays Jeff, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's only 11 years younger than the actor who portrays Clifford Main. And so I'm no expert in human biology here, but I don't know if it's technically possible for an 11-year-old to father a child and also the sort of ethical circumstances around that. But so I don't know. I don't know about that. But at the same time, I think the at Horizon, what happens to the channel after BCS ends? Oh, come on, man. I mean, like I said, like I'm really just trying to live in the moment right now. Like that's what I'm trying to do with my life. I'm trying to live in the moment right now, enjoy these next 8 episodes of a season 6 of Better Call Saul, enjoy ruminating on the mid-season break. That's definitely what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm just living in the moment, focusing on right now Horizon. But I definitely appreciate the support. I definitely do. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. The bomb at the bomb YT. Yeah, definitely don't take that quote out of context there. But again, I'm not trying to turn this into a high school health class, but again, didn't they teach you that? I believe once you start going through puberty, you can father children if you're a biological male, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I'm a guy who barely graduated from high school, so I'm definitely not qualified to speak in that arena. But yeah, I definitely have heard that theory floating around there. And actually, very interestingly, in respect to the fact that the actor who portrays Clifford Maine is apparently only 11 years older than the actor who portrays Jeff, I also think if I'm not mistaken, I think Ray Seahorn just had a birthday, and didn't she just turn 50? If I'm not mistaken. But actually, very interestingly, if we go back to the episode entitled JMM, where we see the identification cards for Kim Wexler and Saul Goodman, aka Jimmy McGill, and I wanted to pull this up. I actually want to talk about this, and it sucks. I can't mirror my screen right now, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Kim Wexler is in her 30s right now. If her character is in her 30s, if I'm not mistaken. Again, you'll have to go back and look at that ID in respect to what year she was born. I could try to pull it up here on my screen and confirm it, but I'm pretty sure she's in her 30s, maybe even early 30s. I could try to Google it really quickly right here if I can. But the point I'm getting at here is, I guess technically maybe the actor Jeff, despite the fact that he in real life is 11 years younger than Clifford Maine, maybe his character is much younger than that. So again, so yeah, Ray Seahorn just turned 50. Mel MC, excuse me. Again, MC. I did it again. I'm so dyslexic. I read your name backwards. My goodness, no wonder I did so bad in school. But again, if I can try to pull up the ID right here. But yeah, I definitely think her character, yeah, I think her character is 36, if I'm not mistaken, according to JMM. So much younger than how the actor is. So again, I'm just trying to sort of tie a bow here on the Jeff character. But actually, very interestingly, in respect to this theory in respect to Clifford Maine's son, this is actually something that I thought about when I went back and watched the episode entitled Magic Man, the premiere for season 5 of Better Call Saul. We did see that character standing behind Jeff the cab driver, who just wanted to come along, and he was a much younger man, and we didn't have very much information about him. And sort of with the sort of literary premise of like displaying things to us on screen, if he's not going to really have a backstory, then why did they present that character to us at all in that scene? I mean, we still need to know what the deal is with Jeff the cab driver, and maybe this I did it again. I'm going to call it a car ornament. I said I would call it air freshener, but I'm actually going to call it a car ornament. So this ornament in this car of the Albuquerque isotopes that we saw displayed to us in this trailer, definitely it seems to be alluding to that somehow, and that we also need to sort of see the sort of completion of who Jeff is and why he called out Saul Goodman in this respect. And the point I'm getting at here is the guy standing behind him. Again, this is just totally a speculative theory on my account, but maybe that's Clifford Maine's son. Maybe somehow, we saw Clifford Maine sitting in court. Maybe that is his son, and that's the sort of backstory behind how that air freshener got in Jeff the cab driver's car. I mean, he's actually he was pretty tall, that actor, if I'm not mistaken, and the actor who portrays Clifford Maine is pretty tall too. So there's kind of a, I guess, resemblance there, if you will. So maybe that's the backstory. Again, I could be totally wrong here, and I'm just rampantly speculating in respect to this. But at the same time, who knows? And we also saw Kim Wexler with another defendant in court in respect to her PD work. And this definitely doesn't look like a Clifford Maine's son, but it could be. I mean, maybe I'm being, not very open-minded here, but he definitely, I don't know. So maybe this is Clifford Maine's son. Maybe the guy staying behind Jeff the cab driver in the cold opening scene of the episode entitled Magic Man is Clifford Maine's son. So again, I don't know. You would imagine some sort of, it doesn't have to be incredibly complex. We're not going to get a sort of spin-off based on the man who was standing behind Jeff the cab driver in the episode entitled Magic Man, you wouldn't think. But you would imagine there'd be some sort of interesting backstory in respect to why this person came with Jeff to confront Saul Goodman in the shopping mall after he rode in his cab in the episode entitled Smoke in season 4. So just sort of very interesting sort of theory here. So at Michael Curtis, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's his adoptive son. I mean, I don't see the resemblance, but who knows? Again, I don't want to be, too forward with my assumptions. So we'll see. So yeah, irrespective of that, just kind of bringing again Clifford Maine and his son and sort of his role in donating and funding Kim Wexler's pro bono practice. Again, it's definitely an interesting subplot here that's likely going to be displayed to us in the next episode and probably the next 2 episodes. But again, I'm very interested to see what's going on with this air freshener here. Again, I literally changed what I called it back and forth. I don't think I called the same thing twice in a row. that entire monologue there. So, but again, a couple other scenes here that are kind of intriguing. And again, there is a shot of the vet here, but I'll get back to that. I think the first thing I want to talk about here actually is that we see a shot here of Saul Goodman. Again, unknown location for sure, but in the background of this image, we can absolutely see the film students from the University of New Mexico here. So definitely, they're coming back for the first time in season 6 of Better Call Saul for sure. And very interestingly, again, another thing I was hoping to share my screen and show with everyone in this chat, and I'm going to try to pull it up right now. But in the episode entitled "Axe and Grind," we see a lot of the cast members already listed on IMDb. And again, maybe it's a little bit of a spoiler here. And I mean, I don't know what technically the sort of, I wouldn't say rules, but again, I can't find another word than that. But I don't know what the sort of the rules are in respect to spoilers with stuff posted on IMDb beforehand. Again, I think with certain like rules with like the Hollywood and the sort of the union and everything, I think that they have to they have to post the credits and stuff like that, and they can keep it a secret as much. I mean, maybe they can for like one thing. I think I harken back to, didn't in the Office like season finale, like they totally lied and said Steve Carell wasn't going to appear, but he did, and they hid that. I think you can do that for like maybe one episode or something to that effect. And I wouldn't call it, wait, all the episodes got leaked. Wait, who said it was leaked? Again, I didn't say it was leaked. I'm just saying that I was just saying that these film students here, we can see them behind Jimmy McGill in the scene here in the promo trailer. And also, if we look at the credits for the episode entitled "Axe and Grind," they are absolutely listed here with a couple of additional actors as well. And I was hoping to pull it up if possible. Again, man, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Hold on. Yeah, I apologize. Anyway, I was trying to, like, again, we can see that these actors are going to be in this scene again. What the premise is here of it's likely involving something to do with excuse me, Jimmy and Kim's plan to undermine Howard Hamlin. Again, the specific details, my guess is as good as yours. Again, I don't know why I can't pull this episode up. This is man, my goodness, these computers are terrible. Yeah, this can both of the computers I have are extremely old, and I've been definitely putting it off. And I'm not a very technically savvy person, but in the name of having better quality streams, I'm definitely gonna have to get a different computer. But anyway, again, I can't pull it up right now. I don't know what's going on with my computer. But anyway, we can see that these actors are listed here, and if I'm not mistaken, I also believe that the actor who portrays Kim's mom is going to be in this episode as well, according to IMDb. Again, I apologize if, I mean, I don't know if that's technically a spoiler or anything like that, but if you go to the IMDb cast list for this episode, she's definitely listed here for this episode. So again, you'd imagine that we don't have to see a sort of flash forward or a flashback, excuse me, to Kim Wexler's past like we did in I believe in the episode entitled JMM, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was the cold opening scene for that episode, was a flashback to Kim Wexler's childhood on the Kansas Nebraska border. So you would imagine if Kim Wexler's mom is going to be in here, we're going to see maybe another flashback, or maybe you'll be in the present day. Again, it's hard to tell for sure, especially with my computer not loading. But again, very interested to see here what's going on for sure. Again, maybe it won't be true. Again, I think someone posted in the chat of one of my last live streams how apparently the episodes by which Walter White and Jesse Pinkman are to appear this season are on IMDb. And I'm not going to spoil that for anyone. I mean, if you really want to go digging for it, I guess you can find it. And I don't know if it's true or not. And again, I don't know if like the people who post the credits here, if it's absolutely true, or I don't know how IMDb works, if it's official or if it's sort of edited by fans or something to that effect. But yeah, we can definitely see the actor who plays Mrs. Wexler is apparently going to be in this episode. In addition to the University of New Mexico film students are going to be in this episode as well, and a couple of other characters here who I haven't seen before. Also, Howard Hamlin's private investigator is listed here, who doesn't have a name yet. And yeah, so that's what we see. That's pretty much what sums up the characters we have seen so far. So again, kind of interested to see what's going on here? How did you see the listing for the episode? Again, at Courtney's reviews, if you go on IMDb, there's definitely credits here for this episode. So again, it's kind of like how bad you want to spoil it for yourself. Oh, for episode 10? Again, what about episode 10? I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Maybe I missed something in the chat, but yeah, at all right then, young Kim actress confirmed on Instagram. Yeah, at all right then. Instagram is definitely a pretty dubious place to avoid spoilers for sure. I'll just say that. So yeah, again, it's kind of like how much digging do you want to do for prior to every episode. So again, that's why I'm still absolutely blown away by Rock and Hard Place about how everything that was presented to us and was in various forms of teaser photos and videos and everything to that effect. So much was presented to us prior to that episode, and I was still absolutely blown away by the conclusion there. Again, I've talked about this in my previous live stream. I have never been more surprised by an ending of an episode in the entirety of the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul universe. Absolutely nothing else comes to mind. So yeah, I mean, that's why I love that episode so much. Again, I kind of talked about in my previous stream about how the sort of big payoff in respect to Lalo Salamanca going to Germany, they kind of already revealed that before the episode. So it is what it is. But so they kind of, a little bit, I feel like, diminished the surprise there, at least for myself. Maybe if you had no idea going in, it would have been a much you know, sort of bigger surprise for sure. But it is what it is. Michael Curtis half measures that for sure. That for sure was a big one, but I feel like Rock and Hard Place was still more unexpected because you would think that sort of you wouldn't think that Jesse Pinkman was going to die there in half measures. You thought something would happen, but the whole time when I was watching Rock and Hard Place, I would tell myself Nacho has to get out of this. There has to be an out here. He has to be saved somehow. What's going to happen? And then everything that they were displaying to us, it turns out they were being absolutely true, and Nacho went through with the plan, and we all know the ending there. So again, nothing parallels to that in just my humble opinion. So, but yeah, not sure what's going on with the sound guy here. We also get a shot here of someone, ashing a cigarette with tattoos on his hand. I have seen some people speculate that this may be Emilio, maybe, but I don't think so. I went back and watched the pilot episode of Breaking Bad, and from what I saw, Emilio did not have any tattoos on his hands when he was cutting up the either the pseudoephedrine or maybe he was sort of scraping the matches to get red phosphorus. He was doing something there, and he definitely didn't look like he had tattoos on his hand. And the hand actually looks a little bit older, so I guess it is technically. I mean, he didn't. I mean, unless he got the tattoos and then got them lasered off in the interview. And I mean, not in the interview, in the universe. Again, I don't think it's Emilio ashing the cigarette here with these tattoos on his hand, but you know, Clifford's son could be Badger. Hey, at Collins SBK. Hey, technically possible. I wouldn't. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, absolutely not. I don't. Nothing. No backstory in the plot of no dialogue in the plot of Breaking Bad comes to mind that would contradict that. Huh. Again, I don't think that's going to be true. But man, would that be something? At Collins SBK. That is a theory right there. I had not considered that. I like that a lot. Colin SBK. Yeah, then again, his last name is Mayhew. That is a good point at Michael Curtis. Yeah. At Cinco Bones. Again, someone asked that earlier. I don't who was that? Was that I think Horizon asked that earlier. Again, I mean, I've thought about that a lot with all Better Call Saul channels. You wonder what's gonna happen. I mean, there's a lot of channels out there that are completely dedicated to Better Call Saul. And you do wonder what's gonna happen after this after the show ends. Again, like I told Horizon, I'm kind of living in the moment here. Yeah, Batter's last name is Mayhew. I've kind of thought about that. Maybe there's you could editorialize at least right in the moment how maybe he has his mom's last name. There's a falling out between the family, and sometimes the kid takes the mom's name instead of the dad's name. Again, that theory is on life support for sure. I don't think that's going to be the conclusion there in respect to Clifford Main's son. You definitely got me there for sure. It definitely makes a lot more sense to me that the guy standing behind Jeff, might be his son. That makes a lot more sense to me. I can actually even see the resemblance there. So, but Single Bones, I really appreciate the support. It's a blunt question, but it's definitely something I thought about. But like I told Horizon, I'm just living in the moment right now. I'm just enjoying right now. Just now, enjoying these next 8 episodes. Enjoying the mid-season break, just enjoying life, enjoying the summer, enjoying making content and enjoying learning from the chat here. So just living in the moment. That's all we can do, and it's definitely helped my life once I sort of embrace that philosophy of just living in the moment and embracing the now. So that's kind of the plan, and that day will come here eventually, and I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there at Cinco Bones. So. But yeah, good call on. I didn't even consider his name as Brandon Mayhew. But in respect to last name, something I have thought about for this series is that we know the names of all of Jesse Pinkman's friends. We know Combo is Christian Ortega. We know Badger's Brandon Mayhew. But Skinny Pete is the only one of Jesse Pinkman's friends where we don't have a last name for him. He referred to himself as Peter, I believe, in season 3 of Breaking Bad, if I'm not mistaken, when Jesse kind of was stealing the meth from Gus Fring's lab and trying to sell it to the people at the what do you call it, at like the what do you call that, like Narcotics Anonymous or something like that. He was trying to sell it to them, and he just referred to himself as Peter. Peter Main. Oh man, John 82. That is hilarious. There we go. That one makes more sense than Badger for sure. That is hilarious right there. There we go. Skinny Pete could be Clifford Main's son. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Nigel Bathmore. Skinny Pete is the only one of Jesse Pinkman's friends where his last name was never revealed to us, I believe, in the entire universe of Breaking Bad or El Camino as well. He referred to himself as Peter, which is likely his first name, but Skinny mentions his dad is a contractor after he sees the hole. That's true. He does mention that as well. Did he say it was his? He definitely said he's like a contractor or something, I believe, right? Wasn't he definitely under the influence of marijuana when he said that too at Courtney's reviews? Was it his dad or was it a different relative? But I think he said he's like a contractor or something. That would be absolutely pretty. I'll have to go back and watch that, so don't quote me on that. But that'd be pretty hilarious if he mistook his father, Clifford Main, being a lawyer as a contractor. That'd be pretty funny. So did he say or something? What did he say or something in that Matt Duncan, or was it a contractor? Did he not say or something at Matt Duncan? I'll have to go back and watch. That was season 1 of Breaking Bad. I believe that was that Cancer Man, if I'm not mistaken. That episode. I think that was the episode Cancer Man. Maybe I'm not sure. So yeah, I'll definitely after this is over, I'll definitely have to go back and watch that scene for sure. We definitely have the out of the or something if you said that. So you just said a contractor. All right. So yeah, never mind then. So again, this is more of an open forum speculation here. I definitely we're just spitballing here for sure. So yeah, I remember he definitely said that he could hook you up after Combo walks through the corridor and he says, "What happened to your ceiling?" And Jesse Pinkman says the house is settling. And yeah, I think Skinny Pete said like my dad's a contractor, he could hook you up. Something to that effect. So he did say or something at Courtney's reviews. I thought he did. I swear I thought he did. Again, I don't think either of Jesse Pinkman's friends are going to be Clifford Main's son. And if I actually, again, I don't gamble, but if I actually had to make a bet, I would bet on the tall guy standing behind Jeff being Clifford Main's son, especially in respect to the fact that Jeff had that air freshener in his car. And we seemingly need a literary backstory for this character. It's sort of the premise of Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's tall guy standing behind Jeff. Like, if you introduce him into the plot, then what's the point if we're never going to see him ever again? It kind of reminds me back to the movie The Room. Where the woman says that's it. I definitely have breast cancer, and it never comes back in the rest of the movie. That's like bad storytelling 101, seemingly. So you would think we'll have a backstory of that tall guy standing behind Jeff for sure. So yeah, and he was definitely a lot younger. Like I said, the actor who plays Jeff is only 11 years younger than Clifford, the actor who plays Clifford Main. But that guy standing behind him looked much, much, much younger. So that makes sense to me. Could be totally wrong, totally. I thought that Jesse Pinkman and Walter White would appear in episode 5, and totally wrong. Totally fell for the red herring. Totally fell for all the misleading clues, like why they didn't release any photos prior to that episode. So it is what it is. So I agree. John 82. I would absolutely love to see Tortuga. I talked about it. So at Brian C, his son is Tucker. Yeah, that's a reference right there. We could play this game all day long. That is a great pull right there. His son is Tucker. You're right. I mean, while I don't think any of these people are going to be his son for sure that we're speculating on right now, you do sort of think back to all of these sort of tweakers and users that we saw over the course of Breaking Bad, and you do wonder, is this going to be Clifford Main's son? Is this going to be Clifford Main's son? It kind of goes to that meme, right? The guy with the butterfly. Like, is this Clifford Main's son? That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. So, at UD on YouTube, Tucker was the tweaker who dug the hole in, I believe, season 4 of Breaking Bad, when it was definitely season 4 of Breaking Bad, after the cartel ripped off of one of Gus Fring's refrigerator trucks and stole their I believe Gaff and a couple of the cartel men stole the blue meth, and they just gave it to a couple tweakers, and they wrote on the sign like, "Are you ready to talk?" It was just sort of the cartel sort of I don't even know what you would call it. I wouldn't, giving the business a sort of a too not serious term, but when they definitely sort of, when the sort of the cartel and Gus Fring, the sort of tension had reached a sort of boiling point where the cartel was really moving in on Gus Fring. That's when the henchman Nick got shot in the head by Gaff as part of that storyline in season 4 of Breaking Bad. So yeah, yeah. How deep are you going at Thomas Cunningham? Great quote right there. Great quote. Yeah, really appreciate it, Brian. See, I appreciate the support, and I love that comment too. That is pretty funny right there. But yeah, sort of moving on here from this speculation on who Clifford Main's son may be. Again, my odds are still on the tall guy behind Jeff, but again, I could be totally wrong. Again, so kind of going back into this trailer here. I mean, there was the scene here of Francesca and Saul that kind of had to do with the storyline involving the judge in the previous episode. There's definitely something there in respect to the sort of scheme of the Sandpiper Crossing settlement there. Again, there's definitely something there with Francesca making that phone call for Saul Goodman. You'd imagine that the film students are a part of that as well in respect to their next move against Howard Hamlin in the Sandpiper Crossing settlements. And just to sort of go back to the Howard Hamlin storyline, you do wonder whether or not the Howard Hamlin figuring out was part of the plan. I definitely talked about that in my previous stream about how it just seems so obvious, and Howard Hamlin was able to deduce the scheme so quickly that you would, like, Howard even said you did a terrible job covering up your tracks. You wouldn't think that Jimmy would use another prostitute after sending those prostitutes to Howard Hamlin's business lunch in season 5 of Better Call Saul. It would almost be like a calling card there, a little bit too obvious. So again, we don't know whether or not that was part of the scheme. We did hear Kim Wexler say to Jimmy McGill in bed, you know what comes next. Again, a very sort of subtle, ominous piece of dialogue there from Kim Wexler. We as the audience currently do not know what comes next, but definitely something very interesting to think about for sure in respect to what's going on with the film students and with Francesca posing as the parent, or not the parent, the daughter of someone who lives in the Sandpiper Crossing assisted living facility. And so, yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff there. And I guess before we get into the final scenes here with Lalo and Mike and the Zafiro and the axe, as well as the oh my goodness, I almost forgot. I mean, I talked about it in my previous video, but I mean, the vacuum cleaner repair card also comes in this episode apparently. I mean, my goodness, definitely didn't see that coming for sure. That was quite a surprise there, and I'm actually kind of surprised they teased that prior to the episode. I think that would have been quite a surprise if there was just absolutely no tease of it whatsoever, and then we saw that in the next episode. That would be pretty much something. But I guess before we get into that, I first want to get into the scene of the vet's caldera. That, again, there's a photo here that I wish I could show on my screen that they presented prior to this next episode. And we also see that shot here in the promo teaser as well of Saul getting his orbital bone and his eye checked out after Howard Hamlin punching him in the face. And just quickly going back to Howard Hamlin's storyline, again, it's pretty interesting to think about how Howard Hamlin is sort of working against Jimmy McGill here too. Again, it's not revealed to us, and it's almost likely not the case that Jimmy and Kim do not know that a private eye is currently tailing them right now. So again, like this fight scene here, again, a lot of people found it a little bit polarizing, and I talked about it in my previous live stream, but it definitely makes a lot of sense in respect to Howard Hamlin's next move on Saul Goodman, where I guess he wanted to sort of get his guard down, where he wanted to just make it seem as though I guess that you clearly hate me. Let's box it out and we'll be done with it. And that's what Howard maybe wants Saul to think that it's over now. You had your chance. I kicked your ass. It's over. And Saul definitely doesn't know that someone's tailing him right now. So it's pretty interesting here. And I saw a lot of people talk about this after the second episode, where people wondered who was following Jimmy and Kim after they left the Kettleman's tax service business. And people did surmise that maybe Howard Hamlin was going to turn the tables on Jimmy and Kim, and they definitely thought that this was Howard's PI who was following them from the Kettleman's office. And while that wasn't the case, Howard Hamlin would eventually hire a PI who was going to tail Jimmy and Kim. So again, a lot of nuance here. And, despite the fact that, like I talked about in my previous live stream, how I don't think the execution of the scene on screen was the best, I wasn't the biggest fan of that music that they chose to overlay with that scene. Again, just my own personal opinion. I'm not, I don't have a problem with the scene as a literary device. I really don't. It makes a lot of sense to me. Just the execution of it was a little bit sort of questionable, at least during the first watch. But definitely after the sort of, second and third watch of it, I really don't have as big of a problem with that boxing scene. It doesn't bother me that much as a literary device for sure. That definitely didn't work there. I didn't hit the mute button, and you heard that. But anyway, so getting into it, this scene here with Caldera at the veterinarian office, where they're seeing Caldera. One of the premises being he's sort of looking over Jimmy as a doctor, but of course the sort of byline for this episode is that Jimmy and Kim enlist a knowledgeable contact. Now you all know what sort of I've been hoping for in respect to this knowledgeable contact. And again, I don't know if it's going to be the case, but fingers crossed for Patrick Kuby. I don't think it is going to be Patrick Kuby. At Jonathan Barker, writers added Kim Wendy scene at the end. That theory, in respect to that sort of the statement that you said to Wendy of if you ever need any help, here's my card. Again, I don't know that there's a sort of deep, complex nuance to that scene or a sort of big setup, but there is nuance there. I definitely sort of think it just sort of tied a nice bow onto the sort of Wendy scene where again it's pretty. I don't want to get too existential here, but it's a pretty tough life that this character has for sure in her line of work. You would imagine. I mean, that scene in I believe was it Half Measures, that opening scene of her life where she's like going about her daily routine. I mean, it's pretty brutal life that she's living, and I think it was just a sort of they're trying to just sort of tie a sort of nice bow on the conclusion where someone like Kim was in her corner. As a person, there was someone out there who cared about her as an individual, despite the fact she has a really tough life and how, society doesn't value her at all, a character like Wendy. So I think that was kind of the premise of that very last piece of dialogue. I thought about that as well when I saw that, where she gives her the business card and say, if you ever need any help from me, I'm there for you. So I think that was sort of the premise there of that scene at Jonathan Barker. I think it was just sort of just sort of try to humanize the character of Wendy and sort of just it was nice to just have someone like Kim, just in her corner. And I think she actually did mean it, where she would help her if she ever was in trouble or anything to that effect, and she definitely had a really tough life for sure. So I think that I don't know if there's going to be a sort of grand payoff and that she'll come back into the fold of the storyline. It is possible. I could be wrong at Jonathan Barker, but I think that was the that final scene there. And again, thank you so much for the support, man. I really appreciate it. Hopefully that worked that time. So yeah, getting into the scene here, like I said, fingers crossed for Patrick Kuby. I don't know if we're going to see him. He's not listed on the IMDb credits, so part of me really thinks he's not going to appear in this episode. I don't know if he's going to be the knowledgeable contact, but I hope it is. I hope, again, I've talked about this again and again and again. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself here a little bit, but I just really hope we see him at some point in time here. And I definitely do have another video idea for Patrick Kuby. If he should ever appear again. Again, I don't know if I want to, disclose it right now. Some things I feel like I need to keep a little bit close to the vest, but I do wonder who this knowledgeable contact is. Likely something. It has to be. There's definitely some form of illegality in respect to this knowledgeable contact. He's having Francesca do that task for him outside of his office. He's using the University of New Mexico film students as part of this storyline. So definitely wonder who Caldera is, the knowledgeable contact that Caldera is going to give to Jimmy in this for sure. Like I said, I have some thoughts on Patrick Kuby for sure. I've talked about him so much. I mean, I've talked about his backstory. I've talked about his how he's such an integral part of the backstory of Saul Goodman. I don't really want to repeat myself too much here, but I definitely have there's definitely a video idea in respect to Patrick Kuby, and I think I'll hold on to it for now in respect to what happens next in regards to his character. But yeah, my goodness, if we don't see Patrick Kuby appear, I talked about it a little bit more in my past live stream. Oh boy, would that be disappointing for sure. And yeah, just to kind of get into the final scene here, there is a scene here of Mike Ehrmantraut. He's definitely at the industrial laundry. There's some people standing in the background here. I wish I could show my screen here. I'm so sorry that I can't. Again, getting a new computer is an absolute priority here for sure. But there's definitely some people standing in the background. And I believe he says, I'm standing right here to someone off camera. Again, couldn't speculate on what's going on here for sure. I think the next scene they show is a scene of Lalo Salamanca where it looks like these two characters are coming head to head. Again, I don't know if this is like selectively edited to make it look as though Mike is talking to Lalo. I think this confrontation is actually going to happen, sort of to get into the storyline where the first continuation of his proof was Margareta Ziegler, and then after that, it's likely going to be Kai. But I definitely think the fact that Lalo has already met Michael, I think this confrontation is just inevitable. Like, I definitely made a theory about how Mike and Lalo will likely sort of come to pass eventually. This meeting just seemingly has to happen, in my opinion. I mean, he already went after, like I said, Werner's wife. He's going to go after the workers, the boys. And the other name that he heard in part of Werner's life was this man, Michael. And so I think it's absolutely sort of paramount that they sort of, they will come to blows for sure. Again, the actual way this is materialized on screen, my guess is as good as yours, but I just feel like it has to happen. Also, in respect to that promise that Mike made to Nacho before Nacho sacrificed himself for his father. It just seems to make so much sense to me that Mike and Lalo are going to have to sort of the climax of the scene is going to happen. I mean, in this teaser, it was sort of selectively edited to make it look like it was going to happen in the very next episode. Don't know if that's going to happen for sure, but definitely think it's more likely that we see Kai being the one who Lalo comes head to head with in the next episode. So. Also, really interesting scene here. Again, it's sort of very random. This the bottle of Xaviero Añejo. You do wonder if this is sort of in the present day timeline or what the story is behind this bottle. Again, we saw the top of that bottle displayed to us in the cold opening scene of the very first episode of this season, entitled "Wine and Roses." And again, you would imagine that was the same cap of the Xaviero Añejo that they got when they scammed Ken all the way back in season 2 of Better Call Saul, in the episode entitled "Switch," and the one that Kim has held on to her, and the only memento. Is it memento or momento? I think it's memento. The only memento that she took from her office after she quit Schweigarts and Coakley. So you would imagine that would have some sort of significance due to the fact that it rolled out of the dresser onto the gutter there next to the pavement. But again, you do wonder, we're seeing this brand new bottle of what looks like to be Xaviero Añejo here. So you do wonder, how this new bottle allegedly is going to come back into the fold. At Courtney Reviews, I think they're celebrating. Yeah, they definitely have that celebration scene. At Pulsura, let's hit that like button. It helps Anton and his channel. He works very hard allowing us to gather and talk about this amazing show. I appreciate it much. Keep it up, man. Dude, thank you so much, man. Your words are absolutely so kind there. I really appreciate it, man. The support, man, that you give in this channel, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that super chat, man. I really appreciate it for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm at a loss of words, man. You're so kind here, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah, at Courtney's review, sorting to getting ahead of here. Yeah, there is that very last scene where they're clinking glasses, and you know, you do wonder, if that there's something to do with the whether or not the fact that that bottle cap that we saw, the top of the Zafiro Añejo that we saw in the gutter, is that the same? Like, are we gonna have two Zafiro Añejo bottle tops now? Is that gonna be kind of the premise of this second bottle? Is that you do wonder? Again, the last two episodes, there's been a ton of setup for sure, And you do wonder, what's going to happen here in respect to all of the payoff that we think is likely going to ensue. But yeah, you do wonder the Saphira Oniero. There is a scene here of Jimmy and Kim sort of drinking out of a couple of wine glasses. Or I think they're wine glasses. I can't really tell here, but you definitely think that that has to do with the Zephyro for sure. Again, just the symbolism there of just, how, the fact that, again, it's the sort of overarching thing. And I feel like I haven't even talked about that much over the course of this season in respect to, just in respect to the ultimate fate of Jimmy and Kim. I mean, I have seen a lot of people comment on it like lately about, is Kim Wexler behind the scenes in the plot of Breaking Bad? Was Kim there all along? I've seen some people put out the theory there that Kim Wexler, goes to jail or that she dies or something to that effect. Again, it's just like the sort of the foreshadowing there of that Zaviro cap. You would imagine that there would be some very stark symbolism behind that scene there, and it not being, just sort of a, whatever throwaway scene there. So again, it's so hard to speculate here. I mean, the fate of Kim Wexler, even through the 5 episodes that we've seen presented to us so far, still completely open ended. Anyone could throw a theory out there in respect to her ultimate fate, and there would be, absolutely like some validity behind it, most likely. So again, I have a really hard time speculating in respect to what's going to happen with Kim Wexler here. And I think we're going to have to definitely wait and see in these next 2 episodes with some pretty ominous titles of Axe and Grind, as well as Plan and Execution for sure. So yeah, I guess, speaking of which, I mean, I guess before we get into I guess before I get into the sort of the money shot here of the man holding the axe, I mean, I guess quickly I can talk about this the best quality vacuum business card that we saw teased to us. Again, that one really blew my mind when I saw that in the promo trailer. I was actually sort of, that one I was not expecting at all to see in this, 6th episode, how, we're likely going to see some backstory here in respect to Saul Goodman acquiring this contact. Again, I made an entire video about it that was much more in depth in respect to Saul's relationship with this vacuum cleaner repairman. And yes, I've also talked about, really unfortunate how the actor Robert Forster passed away, and you definitely wonder how that altered the final storyline that the creators decided to cultivate for this series. But yeah, definitely cannot wait to see the actual story that is involved with someone holding this best quality vacuum repair business card in this promo trailer here. So again, speculation, not really sure. The big kicker here in respect to the dialogue is that when Saul gave Walter White that business card for the first time, and Walt, very jokingly, hilariously said, "This is a vacuum cleaner repair company," and Saul said, "What'd you expect? Haji's Quick Vanish? I don't even know the guy's name." That's the money line right there. How he doesn't even know the guy's name. So again, he definitely acquires this contact, but that's actually a really great piece of dialogue. Great in air quotes in hindsight, with the fact they don't have the actors to portray the character that Saul didn't even meet this man in the past. So that's actually I would say so it's somewhat sobering. You'd hate to mention it that way, but it's actually, I guess, somewhat lucky that that backstory wasn't very developed in the plot of Breaking Bad, and that there wouldn't be a major contradiction if Saul said he had this sort of major relationship with this character. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't have to technically display it to us as well, I suppose. So yeah, at Lewis A9, 6 weeks, 6 weeks in between seasons, half seasons. Yeah, that is true. So Single Bones, thank you so much for stopping by, man. I really appreciate the support tonight with the super chats and all the other super chats you've donated in those past streams. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, again, fingers crossed that my computer, I can get it going for tomorrow in respect to the software and everything. Fingers crossed, but hopefully by next week for sure, I'll have a much better setup for sure. So I really appreciate the support, man. And thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And just going back here, I believe someone in respect to this notebook that we also see here, that is likely the exact same notebook that we saw in the cold opening scene of Wine and Roses. I believe Matt Duncan said here, like, did you see Caldera's decoded notebook on Reddit? Again, everyone has mentioned the fact that this has been decoded on Reddit, but I looked on Reddit and I haven't seen it. So again, I mean, if you want to give the Cliff Notes version of that here, I mean, if you go back and zoom in on the shot of that notebook we've seen, it's literally hieroglyphics. There's some sort of weird symbols here. It's not even like language or letters or anything to that effect. So I personally have no idea what it means. I have heard people say it's already been decoded, but I have no idea what it is. So, I mean, if someone wants to give me the abridged version here in the chat, I wouldn't mind it for sure of what's going on here. But Patrick Kubi is on the notebook. Again, I hope you're not. Hope you're not being facetious there because I would definitely not be opposed to that whatsoever in respect to Kubi being involved in the storyline in any capacity. So Cliff's son is Spooge. Yep. Again, who knows? He doesn't have a drug problem yet, though, seemingly. So I think that one we may have to toss in the maybe pile there at Benedict Jones. Unfortunately, with Spooge not having the the drug problem as of right now. So yeah, at Alex Wolf, apparently on IMDb, it's listed what episodes they're going to appear in. It's apparently going to be multiple episodes. Apparently, again, I don't know if I want to spoil it here, but if you really want to go digging there for you know, the information, it's apparently on IMDb. So if you want to deep Google IMDb, you can apparently find it. Again, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know how IMDb works. I don't know if it's sort of user edited or anything to that effect, but it is on there apparently. So yes, at Charlie Hennings, I am planning on going live after episode 6 tomorrow. Again, the setup will be TBD. Again, my literally to one of my favorite Bill Burr quotes as Patrick Kubi in the entirety of Breaking Bad, as I talked about at the beginning of the stream. Shit fire and save the matches. Talk about bum luck that my computer literally died right before I was about to do this stream. Just like how his truck allegedly broke down right on the train tracks. So but yeah, sort of getting into it here, this very last sort of image here, again, with in respect to the man holding the axe, which people talked about a little bit earlier in the stream. The let's call it a $80 million question in respect to Walter White's net worth at the end of Breaking Bad before it was stolen by Jack Walker. So this is the big money question here of is who the heck is holding this axe right here, and what does this title Axe and Grind mean? What is the payoff here for sure? And I definitely heard a lot of people sort of look at this image. If you go back and look at this promo trailer, that I really wish I could share my screen and display it right now. Yeah, Ted McElwain, the Axe Man is the cousins. Yeah, that definitely is just the sort of absolute linear trajectory that your mind first goes to in respect to when you see the word axe, because those are the characters that have used the axe abundantly over the course of Breaking Bad. Not so much in Better Call Saul off the top of my head, but definitely over the course of Breaking Bad. But if we look at a picture of this man here, some people say he's wearing a beard, but again, it's a really grainy image. It's not in focus. The axe is in focus, but it's a sort of like a high angle shot, a low angle shot. I'm not a sort of camera expert here, but again, it definitely looks like this person is wearing a ski mask to me. Some people said it looked like he had a beard, but to me, this looks like my interpretation of the scheme is that it is a ski mask. Um, I like that theory. It's someone chopping wood outside when Lala shows up. Again, though, to me, I could be totally wrong here, and maybe I'll have to eat some serious crow after I watch this episode tomorrow. But to me, it looks like a ski mask. It looks like there's sort of this like lighter sort of tone around his eyes, and the rest of it is very dark. To me, it looks like he's wearing a ski mask. Maybe he has a beard too, but to me, it looks like a ski mask. So it definitely thinks that I feel like that's a necessary component of the storyline. I could be absolutely wrong here when push comes to shove tomorrow, but again, I have seen a lot of people say he has a beard. It's kind of like that thing you see in high school psychology class if they show you an image and, depending on your perspective, you may have a different interpretation of it. I kind of feel like that's what we're doing here right now. But it definitely seems like the cousins are the first thing that comes to mind, but this image here of someone holding an axe is definitely does not look like the cousins to me. Yeah, Justin Cruz, I hope it's Kubi. My goodness, I hope it's Kubi. I would, my goodness, I could not articulate how happy I would be if it would be Kubi. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I made my points very clear on that. It could be, who knows? So yeah, it's possible that Kai's in the ski mask. Again, maybe it's someone who's doing something and trying to conceal their identity. We're really shooting in the dark here, as you said in your review, as in your theory at Courtney Reviews. I actually really like that premise of Gus killing the lights and then walking the number of steps to the gun. That gun is definitely going to have to play a very significant role in this storyline for sure. I really like that theory. I saw that in your most recent video. That was definitely solid there for sure. But yeah, again, with this man holding the axe, again, I don't really know here what's going on. I mean, these titles, though, are just unbelievably sort of loaded terms and dubious with axe and grind and plan and execution. I mean, like I said, I think Kai's a goner. I mean, Kai is not long for this world in respect to Lalo Salamanca. And just sort of getting into that storyline, you do wonder what sort of approach that Lalo was going to use if and when. I'm pretty damn sure they're going to come to meet each other in the plot of Better Call Saul. I would almost take that to the bank. But you do wonder what sort of demeanor he's going to use. If he's initially going to approach him like Fred Whalen, and maybe he'll be very sort of taken aback and disrespected by Kai's very sort of jovial and sarcastic demeanor. Maybe he'll be very upset with that. Again, I don't really know what's going to go on here in respect to that storyline, but you do wonder if, like I said, the title plan and execution, maybe it's not referring to Kai, but I definitely don't think Kai is going to make it through the series for sure. But my guess is as good as yours in respect to these very ominous titles for sure. At Jonathan Barker, they're going to put that wig on Bill Burr. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I've said, the appearances. I mean, Hugh Babineau has lost a ton of weight from when he started working with Saul Goodman in season 4 of Breaking Bad. So again, we can use artistic license to explain that away. I guess in the next years to come, Hugh is going to gain a lot of weight, despite the fact that his actor actually lost a lot of weight. And like I said, we've already seen a very much different looking Jesse Plemons compared to how he looked. I guess would technically be Todd Alquist compared to how he looked in a Breaking Bad compared to what he looked like in El Camino. So at the end of the day, I don't think if he's bald, he's bald. He'll just say that he grew out his hair for Breaking Bad. So Kai about to be the new Nacho at Reed's. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be as much of a tragic parable, but I think the ultimate conclusion it might be pretty much the same for sure. So at Reed's. I think their fates might parallel each other quite similarly. So yeah, at Beetle, Kai definitely looks like someone who would spill the beans if push came to shove. And like I talked about a little bit earlier with Margareta Ziegler and then Kai, again, the only other name that he heard. Well, he didn't actually hear Margarita's name, but he saw it on the piece of paper. But the other character which was involved in that plot was that man Michael, who he met working for Gus Fring. So I just think that meeting is inevitable. I think Lalo coming ahead with Kai and Mike, likely not at the same time, but they just seem absolutely inevitable to me. So yeah, at Pulsura, that's a really interesting question. Again, I haven't even considered that. I mean, which storyline is the axe going to come into? Is it going to be sort of Howard and Jimmy and Kim's storyline, or is it, on the surface you would imagine it's going to have to deal with the storyline involving Gus and Lalo. So yeah, you do wonder if there's going to be some sort of great symbolism in respect to that axe. Again, we're really sort of editorializing here with very little information. And we could speculate all day here for sure, but you said maybe someone from their past held this axe against them or the Salamancas. Again, that would be a very interesting tie-in if this axe had definitely something symbolic in respect to the Salamancas. We haven't seen the cousins since the third episode of this season, entitled Rock and Hard Place. They've been absent from the last two episodes. And to tell you the truth, the cousins are some amazing characters, and I really feel like we can't have too much. We cannot have too much of the cousins in the storyline for sure. So I wouldn't hate this having something to do very symbolically with the Salamancas at all, and it's definitely possible. Yeah, I mean, in that story too, with the bell being very symbolic. Again, come to mention it, I don't know if we've seen them use an axe in the plot of Better Call Saul. And yeah, you would like to see, if this axe, the same axe maybe that they used when Marco Salamanca was going to, I guess, decapitate Hank Schrader before he shot him in the face when he said "muy fácil," too easy, when he could have just given the coup de grace when he was on the ground. But yeah, I like that a lot. If they could have had some very symbolic story behind this axe. Again, it's possible. Who knows? So And it is kind of funny how, like, with Nacho Varga's storyline pretty much wrapping up, the two main stories we have are the story of Jimmy and Kim and Howard, and the story of Gus and Lalo. And it's kind of interesting how Mike is the sort of, middleman here who's sort of, involved in both storylines right now. With Mike sort of talking with Kim Wexler and how his men are tailing Jimmy and Kim to make sure that Lalo doesn't go after them. So it is kind of funny how Mike is kind of involved in both storylines, and we kind of have the two separate stories going right now following the conclusion of Nacho storyline. So definitely, really excited to see what happens in this next episode for sure. And so, yeah, that pretty much sums up, I think, every sort of image that was teased to us. Again, there's the Francesca, Howard's wife, which I talked about earlier, Kim, Clifford Maine, Caldera at the vet's office, Howard, and like I said, the promo. I'm pretty sure I summed up the promo trailer more or less as well. Again, yeah, a lot here. I mean, a lot of big things with this Albuquerque Isotopes. Air freshener, my goodness, the best quality vacuum card. These very ominous titles. So again, really looking forward to seeing what happens in this next episode. And I really feel like after just having these two setup episodes back to back, I really feel like the payoffs are going to be something. So I really hope we're in for some very big twists and turns and some very sort of climactic scenes in the next episode tomorrow in less than 24 hours now. At Ted McElwain, how does everything resolve to make 3 years pass? Again, I have heard a lot of people say that the timelines aren't going to match up. I think I even heard someone say that Giancarlo Esposito might have said as much, and I'm really starting to believe that they may not line up after when all is said and done. And I don't really know if the sort of final premise of the show is to sort of have the timelines finally meet up. I think it's definitely more devoted to the sort of distant. It's kind of interesting. It's more devoted to the sort of distant backstory of a Saul Goodman and Gus Fring in this world, as opposed to the very immediate backstory of a Better Call Saul. Again, I could be totally wrong there, but just the more and more I watch this, is just makes me think that we're not going to see the sort of absolute meet up in respect to the storyline. I could be wrong. Again, I definitely always thought they would meet up, but the more I watch the show, and just the fact that we only have 8 episodes left, and my goodness, we're still in the year 2004, if I'm not mistaken. And Walter White's birthday isn't until September of 2008. So we're more than 4 years out still from a Walter White even beginning to think about being involved in the Albuquerque criminal underworld at Ted McElwain. So again, it's a really great point you make. And part of me just thinks I think what we thought we were going to see, like, it may not be what we all thought we were going to see, the final conclusion to all of this. So, and again, in respect to Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, again, like Peter Gould said, what iteration that they appear in the series, we'll just have to wait and see. Again, time jump coming. That's very possible at Green Lizard Balls. We have to remember that in the episode entitled Something Stupid in season 4 of A Better Call Saul, I believe we had a 9-month time lapse in respect to the time lapse montage scene that occurred in that episode in order to advance the plot. And it's actually kind of interesting, without that, we didn't have to see any of the construction of the super lab take place. It was all just implied because of the time lapse scene that occurred. But you do wonder, that would be quite the literary vessel right there. And I thought that the time lapse scene that occurred in the episode entitled Something Stupid was just absolutely unbelievable. It was just the absolute perfect literary device, in my opinion, in respect to sort of, speeding up Jimmy's PPD to conclude, and to get him to the point where he's about to be reinstated as a lawyer, to sort of speed up the literary premise of Kim's broken arm, to sort of speed up the building of the super lab. So that 9-month time jump was done very well. And that was an unbelievable scene there, that sort of montage scene of Jimmy and Kim going about their respective daily lives over that 9 months where they're sort of growing apart. And again, a little bit of misdirection there, because, we had that final scene of that cold opening scene where Kim faded to black next to Saul Goodman. And maybe in the grand overarching scheme of things, that's going to be the sort of what they're foreshadowing. But in the immediate future, even though it seemed like they were drifting apart, they're now like, they're more simpatico, to use the Gail Bedecker term, more than ever. So again, that kind of just adds another layer of sort of depth and complexity, and sort of, even sort of a tragic nature to the storyline, which I talked about in a previous video, how, the fact that seemingly Kim and Jimmy aren't going to be involved in each other's life in the way it is currently now just makes the sort of conclusion even more devastating because on the surface it seems like Kim absolutely could have been a sort of behind the scenes silent partner with Saul Goodman or sort of facilitated the law offices of Saul Goodman and associates in some capacity based on her sort of changing moral compass. But the fact that it likely isn't going to be the case, I think just makes this story even more nuanced and complex and tragic. So yeah, Ted McElwain. I mean, my goodness, you bring up that shoebox again. We haven't even seen the Gene Takovic storyline, and we're almost done with the first half of season 6. They're just my goodness. I could go off like on so many things that we just have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. And it's like I've talked about the so little story, so much story. Excuse me, so little time. Man, I am dyslexic. But like I said, the cab driver Jeff, the guy behind him, the shoebox, the money in the ceiling, the phone call that Francesca has to make on Saul Goodman's birthday, the lawyer that he gave to Francesca and tell him that Jimmy sent you. I mean, my goodness, there's so much that we have no conclusion to. Gene's diamonds, in the Band-Aid sin, the ultimate fate of Gene. I mean, so much in respect to the Gene Takovic storyline. And it's crazy to think through it's been now 55 episodes. We've only had 5 scenes of Gene Takovic. So again, you do. I have talked about how just like on initially, I don't know how you square that circle of culminating that storyline in one scene. So an entire Gene episode seems like it's definitely in our future for sure. At Lewis 9A, what's your prediction for the finale? I cannot even begin to think about that right now. Again, so much story left to tell. I honestly, I, I truly have absolutely no idea. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I could try to talk about it. Like I said, I don't even know what the last scene is going to be. Like, you have to, I almost completely forget that the Gene Takovic storyline is in another entirely different storyline that's currently going on in the series. And like I said, you wonder is the final scene going to be of Gene Takovic or is it going to be of Jimmy McGill or is it going to be of Saul? Again, I don't even know what timeline we're going to be in this final scene. I have no idea what sort of final story the creators are trying to craft for us. So, yeah, waiting is our best answer at Reads. I agree. I agree for sure. Wow, at Beetle Beetle, if we never see it again, I don't know about that because I mean, maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. I feel like we have to see Gene again. I mean, I guess, people saying we won't see him again. I think we got to see him again at Beetle Beetle. I agree. At Michael Curtis, way too. I can't even speculate on the next episode, let alone, episode 13. So Michael Curtis, I tend to agree. I think it's absolutely we have to see them again. I mean, come on, we have to see Gene. So again, who knows? I mean, but I mean, I don't even think we can even like sort of have a thought experiment with that. I mean, we have to see Gene. There's just too much open ended. I mean, it would turn into the room almost. Just way too much. Way too like. Why would you say that breast cancer line if it's never brought up again? So I hope so, Justin Cruz. I hope we see Jesse Plemons. That's a great point. Again, Vominos Pest, you would imagine, is going to be a component of the storyline, maybe in part 2. Again, we've already seen Ira. We already established that backstory. We know from the backstory of Breaking Bad that Saul Goodman said he was pulling Vominos Pest chestnuts out of the fire, legally speaking, for 5 years. So I really hope we see Jesse Plemons, a.k.a. Todd Alquist, come back with Vominos Pest, or even just Ira. I mean, I really hope we do at Justin Cruz. I really think maybe, I mean, we don't know when Todd started working with Vominos Pest, but I would imagine that backstory is going to be displayed to us for sure of Vominos Pest with or without Todd Alquist. Wow, that'd be crazy contraband. Like 2 hour long episode. I think the longest episode we've had, not including commercials, is about an hour in Better Call Saul. So 2 hours is almost like a movie. That almost seems like too long. But I definitely think we'll be pushing the boundaries of like an hour, hour five, maybe. And those are pretty long episodes for sure. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Hit and Run might have been the shortest one of the season. Again, I don't quote me on that, but it might have been, or one of the shortest. So, but yeah, when we get to sort of the end here, with the final countdown of part two, I would imagine we're really going to push the boundaries in respect to episode length. That's right, Ted McElwain. He did have one of his matchbooks. I do remember that piece of dialogue for sure. So yeah, at Suburban Catholics is a good point. I'd have to go back and look at Todd Alquist's age. Again, we don't know when he started working there, and maybe we won't see Todd Alquist per se. I think it's much more likely that we see Vamanos Pest as opposed to Todd Alquist. I think that backstory is much more likely to be displayed to us in respect to Saul Goodman's relationship with them, as opposed to necessarily having to see Todd Alquist at Suburban Catholic. I think normally the seasons are 10 episodes at Green Lizard Balls, not 11. But yeah, I definitely think we'll get a Gene episode. I've talked about that, how it just makes sense to me that we'll get an entire episode of Gene. I really feel like, do you really think that once I'm not asking you specifically, but just you in the general sense, like me personally, I just don't think that it's possible that we can wrap up the storyline in one scene of Gene Takovic. It doesn't seem feasible to me at all. So a full episode just seems absolutely like in our future. Again, at Justin Cruz, I don't know if we'll see his father again, but I think his the sort of literary premise of Mike always promising to protect him in respect to the threat of Lalo Salamanca and the cartel, that will be likely come back in the storyline for sure. And definitely in respect to what I talked about, how Mike and Lalo are seemingly going to have to come face to face with one another at some point in time in the story. But I don't know if we'll see him on screen necessarily. It's possible, but I think that the story is more important than actually seeing the character. And also, in respect to Vamanos Pest, I definitely thought about the fact how, we had that backstory of Spooge being a client of Saul Goodman, but we just saw that he was a client. We didn't see any of the backstory in respect to his that meeting. We don't know his backstory at all. We just know his name is Spooge. We just know that he was a client of Saul Goodman, but we didn't see the actual backstory. So if we do see Vamanos Pest, you do wonder if they're just going to sort of establish it very quickly and not sort of get into the very nitty gritty in respect to specific details. But definitely hope we see it for sure. Yeah, Michael Curtis, I think I remember he hinted at something to that effect. I definitely think, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but there's no way we only get one scene of Gene. There's going to be, it's maybe not a full episode, but definitely more than one scene. And you would think that it would have to be sort of, an entire episode. Maybe you could bookend Gene beginning and end or a couple scenes in an episode, but I'm not really sure. So that is a great point too. That red jacket that Gene wore, that is a great point, Ted McElwain, in respect to the teaser. And also, I've talked about this in a previous video as well. If you go back to that very short 15-second teaser of Gene Takovic where he walks past that cork board and rips down the wanted poster, if you go back and look at those wanted posters, which I wish I could show on my screen right now, there definitely looks like the posters are for flyers for information that is happening in Albuquerque. So I have heard people speculate online that, does Gene somehow get back to Albuquerque, as being a possible theory. I've also seen, people talk about the reunion of Kim and Jimmy because she's originally from the Kansas-Nebraska border, very close to Omaha, Nebraska, relatively speaking. So yeah, definitely a lot of sort of, ideas floating out there for sure in respect to the Gene Takovic storyline that I'm very curious to see. With that red jacket likely having some serious symbolism at Ted McElwain. That teaser as well, maybe where it looks like he's in Albuquerque in respect to the other flyers on that cork board. So yeah, at Courtney Reviews, yeah, I definitely think that it may be foreshadowing that for sure. Him returning to Albuquerque again. I don't know how the maybe the reunion with Kim is a little bit too rom-commy. I mean, maybe I'm being too cynical. Maybe you can make it work. That's why they pay the writers the big bucks. They're good writers. I'm not. So in respect to Jimmy and Kim reunion that I've seen people talk about in respect to her being from the Kansas-Nebraska border. But we'll see. I mean, really looking forward to it. And you would imagine that part two the premiere of part two, episode I guess 8, you would imagine that would have to be a Gene Takovic scene. After seeing the Saul Goodman scene initially in for Magic Man, you would imagine that Gene Takovic would have to start part two, the part two premiere. So, and again, you do hope I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing the Saul Goodman's actual house in the present day timeline of Better Call Saul, as opposed to just seeing that, it was clear. I'm pretty sure people. I'm pretty damn sure. Like, you just see the state of that house. It definitely looked like someone who left very abruptly and someone who sort of fled when the shit hit the fan. Pardon the expression. So I definitely think exactly what we thought was being displayed to us was the case in that cold opening scene. So, but you'd love to see that house come back in the story possibly. So that's funny. At Heather Seltzer, I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna see Walter Jr. in this storyline. I mean, I think I made a video about that actually, maybe over a year ago, about how I think someone in an interview asked the actor who plays Walter Jr., RJ Mitty, if he could appear in Better Call Saul, and I don't know if I see that. That seems like a little bit too far of a degree of separation, in my opinion. So at the show guy, has anyone heard of that Gus spinoff? I definitely talked about that, but unfortunately, someone gave me my dream iteration of it is the Giancarlo Esposito portraying a younger version of himself using the Irishman technology. But unfortunately, someone much more well versed in this than I told me that is incredibly expensive and hard to do, and so I don't know if I'm going to hold my breath there in respect to that spinoff. So again, we'll see. Again, like I said, living in the moment here. So but I would love to see it. My God, I think the potential there for Giancarlo Esposito playing a younger version of himself in Chile, man, I think there's potential there. So, but anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to call it there. It's been, like I said, it's been a long day for me, and especially with my computer dying, very unfortunately. So, but yeah, really appreciate everyone for tuning in, despite the fact that this stream was not up to the quality of the previous one for sure, with the lack of me being able to share my screen. But again, really appreciate all the support, really appreciate all the super chats, really appreciate the comments as well. Really enjoyed speculating on who Clifford Main's son may be. I definitely don't think it's Badger Skinny Pete, despite the fact that I don't think it's technically impossible, if that's a word. Most likely the guy standing behind Clifford Main for sure. I mean, not Clifford Main's son is most likely, if I had to make a bet, was the guy standing behind Jeff, but I could be completely wrong. But anyway, yeah, hopefully I'll have, I'll try to do my best with this computer situation for tomorrow, and I will definitely be live after tomorrow's episode for sure. After the episode Axe and Grind, whenever that ends, probably a little bit after 10 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate the comments. Really appreciate all the supports and super chats, like I said. And yeah, I really enjoy doing these streams. Like I said, I learned so much in respect to everyone else's opinions. Definitely a lot of things I didn't consider initially when I read these comments. And like I said, I'm really humbled by the fact that people enjoy my content. And I really love doing this, and I'm looking forward to these next few weeks and months of talking about this show. So thanks again, everyone, and take care. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.